Hi, it's Janet and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here for Creative Escape Papercrafting. I'm going to be showing you the 10 cards I made with this kit, and I had a blast, so I can't wait to show them. But before we get started, I have some super exciting news. With the release of the June kit this month, Creative Escape Papercrafting is kicking off several weeks of giveaways that they are sponsoring. I have the honor of going first, and for 1 week I'll be giving away 2 prizes. One is the One in a Chameleon stamp set from Lawn Fawn, and the other prize is a $20 gift certificate to Creative Escape Papercrafting's website. So to qualify for one of these prizes, you need to do 3 things. One is to be a subscriber or subscribe to my channel right here and to leave a comment as to what you liked best in this kit. Go over to Instagram and find Creative Escape 1 and follow them. The link will be in my video description below, and so be sure to go over there and follow them. You'll see all the new stuff that's coming out as they add it to the store, and it's the best way to learn what's going on. Well, here's a sneak peek of the 10 cards I made with this kit, and I had so much stuff left over I could make 10 more cards, and you'll see a peek of that at the very end, so stay tuned for that. Here is the beginning of my first card. I used the Spellbinder Celebrate die that came in the kit and cut out 5 layers of this fairly thick peachy colored cardstock and then glued them all together. This is my last layer of the peach, and then on top I'm going to put the colored cardstock that came in the kit. This way I don't have to waste a lot of that really pretty cardstock to do a stack, and I've got that peachy neutral color peeking through, which I think actually looks kind of cool when you see it from the side. But you can see how thick that was, and I wanted something super thick, and you'll see why in a minute. To finish it off and make it a little bit glittery, I added some Wink of Stella on the top and set it aside to dry. The Happy Birthday candles is a piece from the cut apart. I had trimmed it down so that it wouldn't be quite as wide and got rid of some of the white. Now part of that Celebrate die includes these balloons, and so I had some glitter paper in my collection, and I just used it in multiple colors here to create these balloons, and I think they are super fun against this candle paper. I'm going to glue them right to the paper. I'm going to use Nuovo Simply White to create the balloon strings, just to give it some dimension and some easy application. It's very easy just to do a little squiggly line to create these strings. Now it is white, and on camera it didn't show up very well here, but in person it really does show up, and it's shiny and pretty, so it worked out really nicely. Now I'm going to put the birthday cut apart here on foam tape, and then I'm going to set it up right over the edge of my Nuovo strings. And then the Celebrate will go on top of that across all these candles. And now you can see too why I wanted it to be nice and thick and to have plenty of dimension. And that worked out very well. Now I'm going to use some of the green cardstock that came in the kit for my card base. And wouldn't you know it, when I was gluing that down, I touched one of those strings, so I had to come back with the Nuovo and fix that up. As a finishing touch, I'm going to add some of these beautiful flat sequins. This is a Studio Katia selection of sequins. I'll have the link in the video description. I did purchase these as an add-on for the kit. I thought the balloons needed a little something extra, so I used some of the ombre cord that came in the kit and created little knots. And these I cut off then and apply with glue right at the point where the little knot would be in each balloon. And I think that added a little bit of pizzazz to it. And finally I made a little flame using Dandelion Yellow Nuovo crystal drops. I did put on a few of the 3mm gems that come in the kit on the Happy Birthday Celebrate cut apart, and that finishes card 1. I've already pre-cut and prepared some of the items for card number 2. It's an A2 size card laid on its side with the opening on the right. I cut a rectangle from the paper stock that came in the kit and put it on some pink cardstock to use as the base, and then used some Scotch tape to attach a piece of blue ribbon that again comes in the kit. And then I made a little bow, just tied one with my fingers, nothing fancy, and I'm applying that with a glue dot. And then after I'm done with that, I'll put a glue dot underneath the ribbon piece as well, the stretched ribbon piece, so it just stays in place. I don't like it when it moves around too much, and that does the trick for me there. Now I can go ahead and attach this to the yellow card base. And the card base is made with cardstock that also came in the kit. I used the same pink that I used on the other mat for this cut apart. I trimmed it down a little bit to fit the pink mat, and then I can apply that right on there, and then it'll be ready to put on the card when I'm ready. I wanted to make a Make-A-Wish sentiment, and this was also on the same cut apart as this cake. I just trimmed it off, but rather than throw it away, I'm going to go ahead and use it to finish my card with. So I just trimmed it off, as you can see, and then I'm applying that again on some of that pink cardstock that I had in my stash. I'm going to trim that out using a craft knife and then trim the edges there, and I've got a nice sentiment to use on my card, and it matches. Now here are the 3 stars. They were some that I had done as part of my unboxing so you could see it, and I used that glitter embossing powder. So I'm going to get some use out of those stars I made, which is always nice. And now I'm going to be using some foam tape there just to lift that cake up a little bit, and then my Make-A-Wish is going to go underneath it. And then I'm going to arrange these stars around the cake. So because the cake is already up on one foam riser, I just need to apply foam on half the star so that it can be raised up and even with the cake. And so that's pretty easy to do. We'll just stick that on there. Next is the Make-A-Wish sentiment. I'm going to attach that to using foam tape. And I played around a little bit to see where I wanted it. I finally settled on it there. And we'll put that down. And now I can apply my stars that are left. This one just kind of spreads across the 2 blue pieces there. And the last star also has a little bit that needs some foam on the left side, because it is overhanging the cake, which is also up already. So that way it's all even and looks good. So here I go with that one. And we're almost done. I added a few of the Studio Katia flat sequins again, and I also used a little bit of Wink of Stella at the very end and applied that over the candies that are on the top of the cake. I also used the Wink of Stella to highlight the little fireworks graphics that is amongst the candies. You can see that better in the picture right here. And so that finishes card number 2. Okay, we're moving on to card number 3. Now this one is a little bit more complex. Some of the cards I've done here today are pretty quick and simple, and others take a bit more time. This is the one that probably takes the most time. What I've got here is a 6x6 size of watercolor paper that I'm taping down to my glass mat. And I'm putting some Ranger texture paste right over the top of this birthday candle stencil that I ordered. Now this was an add-on to the stencil, but I think it's great to add to my collection because I can use it for so many different birthday cards, and I make a lot of birthday cards, so it will get plenty of use. Now through the magic of video, I peeled this back, and here it is already dried and ready to go. Isn't it great? Video is wonderful. So you can kind of see here that it's nice and thick, and you can see very well all the birthday candles here. And now I'm bringing in some of my watercolor, and I have pretty cheap watercolor. I don't remember where I got this from, but probably it's just Michael's, maybe even their brand, I don't know. But believe me, I didn't pay very much for it. Also, I'm not an artist, and I'm not going to paint real watercolor pictures that are serious. I use it for things like this, and so I don't see any reason to put any big money into it. I'm finishing off with the orange on the top, so I had blue, green, red, and orange. And then I wanted to add a little bit more blue because I thought it was too light compared to the other colors. So that was that. Now I just wipe off the excess and set it aside to dry while I work on the rest of the card. Now in this particular card, I am utilizing the stamp set that came in the kit from Altenew. It's called Halftone Stars. And this is kind of a medium-sized star here, and I'm using a technique called two-tone stamping. So what I do is I apply a lighter color on one part of it and a darker color on another, and I just use makeup sponges to do this. It gives me enough control to put it where I want, and then you can see you get kind of this two-tone look. Now I flipped it over, and I'm going to use 2 more colors in yellow. I've got a lighter yellow and then a darker yellow. I think, let me see, that is scattered straw and mustard seed is what I used for the yellows. And the blue is broken china and salty ocean. So those were the colors that I chose. Now I'm going to do a larger 3rd star that's going to be kind of the center of my card or my centerpiece, and it's going to be a 2-tone gold and silver. So I used my sponge there to apply a little bit of Versamark and then applied some silver embossing powder. And now I'm going to take the Versamark with my sponge again and apply it around the exterior pieces of that star. And I'm going to restamp, and then I will apply gold embossing powder over that. Now what I didn't think about was that, of course, my stamp still had a little bit of embossing Versamark on there. So I used a brush to kind of brush it off the silver, but I went a little too far, as you can see there, so I had to reapply a little bit to fix that. And fortunately it worked pretty good. And then I could heat everything up, and you see there I get kind of this 2-tone gold and silver appearance. Now I'm using one of the sentiments from the kit called Shine Like the Stars, and I masked off the phrase that says like the stars, so that first I can use gold embossing powder here and use it to say shine, and then later I'll do the same thing. I will cover up the shine with a little bit of washi tape and then stamp like the stars so that I can get that in silver. So going with that 2-tone look, I get a two-tone sentiment as well. I know it sounds a little crazy, but after you've used the Versamark, just be sure you pull off your tape. I almost didn't do that, and that would have been a disaster. I don't think I could have fixed that. So to finish that off, I used an oval nested die, and you'll see that in a few moments. Now here is the piece again, the watercolor piece, and off camera I gave it a couple squirts of gold glimmer mist, and that's what's creating the glimmer that you see. Now here are the 3 stars that I had cut out. I happen to have bought the nested die set for this, but you can easily just fussy cut it out. And now I'm attaching some of that cording, it's the ombre colored cord, to my stars. And the reason I'm doing this is I wanted to create kind of a feeling that these were star-shaped balloons. I hope I was successful with that. I'm not entirely sure. You guys can be the judge of it. But that was what my intention was anyway, just so you're aware. All right, so now the 2 stars, the one on the left and the right, I just applied straight on to the watercolor piece. But the middle one I wanted to set up, so it's on foam pieces here. And basically if you take a rectangle and cut it from one corner to the other, you'll get kind of that pointed shape that works well for stars. So if you haven't figured that out, or maybe you haven't done stars before, that's a pointer I can give you. And that looks just great, I think, together, those 3 stars. And I cut now this piece of cardstock. It's a balloon shaped piece of cardstock from the kit, and I just wanted a little bit of it to act as a kind of a divider or a holder. It's probably a better word, to give the illusion that it's holding down my balloons. So I can apply that across once I secured them with little glue dots. And I'm going to cut off those tails, but right now I'm just letting them go. And then I'm going to pull back my little piece of paper there and cut off the tails. And then the last thing I'll do is, instead of trimming them off, I decided to just turn the leftover pieces over to get a more finished look. And now that's ready for me to apply on a white mat, which I cut 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then this is going to go on top of a black card base. I just thought the black would make the rest of the colors pop, and I think that did work. And that is then a finished 5 1/2 by 5 1/2 inch card size. So I did do a couple things off camera. Like I said, I cut the sentiment out of my smallest oval in my nested oval die set that I have in my stash. And then also I embossed with some black embossing powder one of the sentiments in the stamp set, which is follow your own star. And you know, this card could be used for many things, but I was thinking of it as a graduation card. I think it would be a fun and kind of modern take on the old-fashioned graduation card. And that finishes up card number 3. With card number 4, I'm using some partial die cutting here. I secure my square die where I want it to be, and then I'm going to take my plate and only put it as far on the die as I want it to cut. And I've stopped here just for a few seconds so you can see what I mean. Then I'm going to run that through my Cuttlebug here, and you're going to see that I end up with an angled piece which looks almost like a pocket. Now it's going to go on this A2 size card base, and behind that I'm going to put the paper you see on the right. And so I've trimmed everything down. I did want the white card base to show through like a mat, so I kept trimming that. And this is what I do oftentimes. I call it trying out a layout. And I keep messing with it until I get it to where I kind of want it. I don't plan a lot of my cards. I sort of just start going and I figure it out along the way. Now once in a while I do plan, but most of the time I do not. And most of the time it works out. You'll see occasionally some things that don't, but that's part of the learning process, right? So I'm going to place this ribbon that came in the kit. It's really a gorgeous red, cherry red. I love this color. It looks great on this blue too, by the way. And I'm just I just did a knot there, and I'm making it slide down to just where the angle starts on this modified triangle. I don't know what else to kind of call it. This ribbon is going to be the anchor for this cute wiener dog. He is so cute. And I've had 2 wiener dogs in my adult life, so of course I love wiener dogs and I just had to use him. So here you go. He's going to be on this fun card. Just put him up on foam, double-sided foam tape, and then I'm adding again some more gems. Now these gems came with the kit. You get the big ones and the small ones, but these are the bigger ones. I think it's the 6mm. And then I'm also going to use one of these pom-poms that came in the kit for his party hat. So cute. And that finishes off card number 4. Okay, we're on to card 5. Now I'm setting up 3 of these cardstock stars that came in the ephemera pack, and I'm going to use some glossy accents here to cover them up because I want to make them pretty and glossy and shiny. And so I'll do that and then set them aside to dry while I work on the rest of this card. Now I'm using the pennants that came in the card. These are foam pennants, and they come in your kit if you're a subscriber. So what I've done is taken them out and put them on the back side of this pretty polka dot blue paper, and then I'm trimming them out afterwards so I get these cute triangle pennants. Now I've got some of this yellow twine which came in the kit as well, and I'm going to start applying these foam pieces, and I'm using just plain wax paper here so that I can lay everything down and stick it down, but then still be able to peel it all up when I'm done, and that way I'm not going to ruin my pennants or paper or anything else while I'm figuring out where to place all these. And I did have to fiddle a little bit with it till I got it where I wanted. Now I used some of that really cute party balloon paper on the blue cardstock that came in the kit. I love the party animal ephemera piece that came in this, and also the balloon dog there came in the ephemera, and I also used glossy accents on that and let it dry as well, though I didn't show it. At this point I'm arranging the banner and getting it where I want, and then I use some black glaze pen to simulate stitching across the top of the banner, and then I'm using these small 3mm size gems and putting one in between each pennant as best I can. Towards the right there I kind of ran out of room, and I first put it below, and then I decided it would be better on the top, and I did like that better. Just gave it a little more pizzazz, I guess if you'd call it that. Now the party animal I'm going to just put right onto the cardstock, and then I'm going to put the balloon dog up on some foam tape, and that's going to add even more dimension. Once I get that peeled off and attached, you'll see that again this little guy has lots of shine to him, and the glossy accents kind of makes it look 3D like a balloon would be. Now I'm bringing back my 3 stars that I made first of all, and I'm going to apply those directly right onto the card. And that is what is going to be my last finishing touches on this card. And with that, we have card number 4. Card number 5 starts with a 5 by 5.5 inch card base using that green printed paper that has words on it like party, 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 make a wish, party animal. There's all kinds of fun little sentiments on that paper. And then I'm using some more of the confetti paper that I had left and applied 2 rectangles here, and they are going to fit perfectly 2 pieces from the ephemera pack, which you'll see in a moment. First is the happy birthday on the right, and then today is the day. And so what I did was just created this card kind of around those 2 pieces because I wanted to use them. And that kind of determined the shape and size of the card. Now these are going on foam tape here so that they have some lift. And then I'm going to bring in the cutest little piece in this whole set, I think, is this hippo. And I wanted to use the Hip Hip Hooray. Now in the ephemera pack there is a Hip Hip Hooray just like that, but it's bigger. So I went to the cut apart and just cut out the sentiment there so I could make it fit in the card. A little bit of fussy cutting and voila, there you have it. I got out the red ribbon again and tied a bow, and I'm going to put that on my little hippo here. I think that adds a nice little touch to her. And again, I just love this cherry red ribbon. It's, I don't know, something about this color in particular I just really like. There's so many different colors of reds, right? But this is just a cheery, happy cherry red. Just love it. So anyway, I'm using a little glue dot to secure it to my hippo. And then the last finishing touches here are going to be some of the gems that come in the kit. I used a small gem here for the is and today is the day for the dot above the eye. And then put a few kind of sprinkled in on both of the happy bird and the today is the day. And then I used the larger gems to put a few right there in the corner. And with that, I finished card number 6. All right, card number 7. I am choosing this paper this time that has all these yummy candies on it, and I'm applying it to the green card base that came in the kit. And then I've got some more of these balloons that I had cut out, and along with a oval that I had actually previously cut a long time ago, and it was in my stash. So it's time to use that. Put it up on some foam tape. And now I've got a place to put all of my balloons. These were multiple balloons that I had left from the earlier card because I kind of just went crazy and cut a whole bunch of them. I figured I'd use them somewhere, and wouldn't you know, I used them here. So I'm kind of clustering them all together, and there will be some that end up on foam tape, as you'll see in a second. But I'm also using the little strings that come with the Spellbinder set, and just to mention again, that's where the balloons were cut out as well. This is from the Celebrate Spellbinders die cut set that came in the kit. Just a great little item to have again for your stash that you'll have a long time after the kit is gone. Unfortunately, this kit is sold out. I just found that out today, so you can't get this one anymore, unfortunately, but I would highly recommend you go and subscribe, and that way you'll get the next ones that come out, and you won't have to worry about whether or not they run out. So anyway, it's pretty exciting for them to have a kit that completely sold out, and you can totally see why, because this is such a cute one. All right, now I was trying to decide which sentiment I used. I decided to use Celebrate right there, and I was also struggling with my balloon strings to get them so they would look you know, the way they should, and it got kind of wonky there. But fortunately, the Celebrate was able to go right over where it looked the weirdest and cover up that. So in the end, even though it was a little odd, the Celebrate sentiment covered that up, so not a problem anymore. Anyway, now we've got the larger gems that I'm using to finish this off. It's obviously very shiny. I don't need much more to it, but that adds a little something something that I like, and that is card number 7. All right, we're on to card 8. Now this one, I'll tell you a little secret, is one of my favorites that I made. I started with this really cute polka dot kind of background paper, and then I pulled a piece of bright pink cardstock from my stash, from my leftovers, and then I'm using this cut apart that says Happy Birthday Cupcake, and I'm applying these 4 candles that came in the ephemera kit, and I'm going to place the Happy Birthday Cupcake sentiment over the top of them so it almost looks like a square cake with these candles. One thing I want to talk about real quick is I'm going to be using one of these acetate pieces from the ephemera kit, and I have some glue dots that are clear. They're 3D type glue dots. I believe you can still buy them. I've had these for a long time, but I found they worked great on the acetate pieces because you couldn't really see them, whereas if I'd used a white foam square, that wouldn't have worked at all. I know you can get clear foam squares as well. I have seen that, so that's another option. Now I'm going to use another one of these pom-poms for the party hat, and that will finish off the most of this card. I have a few little bells and whistles, if you want to call it that. This is the dandelion yellow again. I'm going to practice this a bit, but I'm going to place the flames on these candles, all 4 of them, and that finishes off this card. All right, we're on to card 9. This one I'm going to utilize the Heidi Swap glitter frame that came in the kit, and I'm going to use some, I think it's 1/4 inch score tape here, and I'm going to use it to create a shaker card. So this one is going to be a little bit different in that I am going to put my shaker pieces between two layers of acetate, and every once in a while I'll make a shaker card this way. It doesn't allow the shaker elements to move around as much, and so that's one plus about doing it this way. You don't have it disappearing behind the frame or anything like that. You'll see what I mean when I get done here. I'm going to make a kind of a custom sequin mix here for the shaker. I've got Blue Lightning, which is a Creative Escape Papercrafting custom mix, along with the Studio Katia sequins. Now I'm going to apply some more double-sided score tape here, and once I've got that in place and then peeled, I can place the second piece of acetate over the top. And you'll see me here, I'm just really pressing down the score tape before I take the backing paper off, because I do want a very secure seal here. Alright, so now I use the acetate and just slip it over the top and push it down really well, and now I can trim that down as well. And you're going to see here that these sequins then kind of stay pretty much in place. When you shake it, you still get that great shaker sound, but they don't move around much. Now, here is another one of the acetate pieces that I really liked. I probably should have picked a different piece for this. My thought was it would show through really nice behind the sequins, and it does, but there's so much going on that you can't really read the cake stand here, which says today is the day. I did do something to fix that. You'll see that later on in the video, but for now I'm just moving on. And I used a piece of double-sided foam tape here that I cut in half, and this way I only need 2 strips of it rather than 4, and wasting it by trimming it down to fit, because I really don't need it to fit, I just need it to be narrow enough to go down there. So half strips are good. And then here is my cute little zebra. He's so adorable, and once again I'm using those clear dimensional glue dots, and I had my cake stand a little crooked there, so that's why I was pulling it off. All right, at this point I was thinking to myself, this isn't good, doesn't quite look good, but I'm going to finish this off anyway. Maybe it will start coming together somehow. So I went ahead with my finishing touches here with some yellow, I guess it's called dandelion yellow, and the blue Nuovo is Caribbean Ocean. And you can get both of those colors at the Creative Escape Papercrafting Company as well. Now here's where I'm trying to fix this up. So I took a rectangle of white, trimmed the corners out, and now I'm putting that behind, and that helped a lot for reading the sentiment. You also saw me use some black glaze pen to put in some stitch marks there to finish it off. And that is card number 9. Okay, we're all ready to card number 10. And this is going to be a thank you card. It uses one of the pieces from the ephemera and a cutout. So I wanted to spread my giraffe out a bit, because when I put the thanks flag across the top of it, it just covered too much of his body up and I didn't like it. So I just split it in half, glued that thanks over the top of that, and decided where I wanted to place the giraffe and then trimmed accordingly. And now I can use foam tape to secure the places where I split the giraffe up and then this will create still the base I need for the lift on my giraffe without it being in danger of falling apart. And this is just one kind of sort of cheating way to get the stretch out of my giraffe that I wanted. All right, so that looks pretty good, and I'm using a piece of the red cardstock which I created into a card base. It's an A2, and also the paper that I used there, I had gone ahead and dry embossed it with a thanks embossing folder that I had in my stash as well. But you could use any embossing folder you have. Anything with a pattern would be quite cute, or just not emboss it at all as well, because this paper that I'm using here is quite cute and has lots of interest in it. As you can see there, I tied another red bow, and I'm applying more of those Studio Katia flat sequins. Really like that. And that finishes card number 10. So now I'm going to show you everything I have left. We've got one full piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. I think I've got 7 full sheets of paper here, including one cut apart sheet left. I have 3 half sheets of cardstock and a whole bunch of leftover pieces, plus the pennants, plus the pom-poms and the gems, and still plenty of ribbons left as well. And let's not forget about the die set and the Altenew stamp set, the 6x8. Wait, there's more. There's all these cut aparts that are still left, guys. There is so much more I can do with this set. I figure I can probably get at least 10 more cards out of this. So great value for the money. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad that you were here, and I hope that I provided you some inspiration. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And be sure to go and check the Creative Escape Papercrafting Company website. You can order all kinds of goodies there, as well as subscribe to their kit service. Well, that wraps things up. I'll see you soon, but until then, keep crafting. Bye.